Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, we're talking about the Mars FPGA. Now, we haven't talked about the Mars FPGA in quite some time. I honestly think it's been overshadowed by stuff like Analog's offerings and Take Udon Superstation 1, and just flat out the Mr. FPGA. Anyways, it's being reported over on Time Extension that the Mars FPGA is dead. Now, I recommend checking out the article for more information on the matter, and if you are interested and wanted to learn more about it, like everything we talk about, link will be within the GitHub link in the bottom of the description below. I don't hide my sources, and there is quite a bit of information in here. I guess all of this information comes from Discord. So it's being reported that the person in charge of the Mars board development just flat out disappeared, ghosted the entire team. Now, arguably, there was a little bit of controversy surrounding the project from the get-go, and it just seems that things just never really materialized for it. I am curious to see if the person who went missing and just ghosted the whole thing comes back and the project continues on, or if it really is dead. Based on the fact that we really haven't seen a whole lot from it just yet, I'm guessing that it's just in development hell and not going anywhere. Could be wrong. We'll have to wait and see. Anyways, here it's just, I'm not surprised, and I hate to say that, but I'm really not surprised. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. And speaking about hardware and not great news and interesting articles, next up we're talking about Xbox. And this article is up on VGC here, and listen to the title. They didn't plan at all. Xbox reportedly warning of yet another potential price increase. Now, I've seen a number of articles on this matter, and they all appear to be sourcing Moore's Law is dead. So we'll have to wait and see on this one, but with the price of GDDR6 on the rise, I'm not surprised it's going to cost companies more money to make hardware. But at the same time, Microsoft or Xbox has had price increases again and again, and this would be horrible for the overall hardware, the view of the hardware, at least I think so. I don't know here, it's just a really weird state we're in. Now, I don't know about you, and I'm trying not to open too big of a can of worms. I'll just loosen the lid a little bit, but not really take it off. It just seems like it's one thing after another in today's day and age. I mean, with part shortages during COVID, and then inflation after COVID, and then tariffs and shipping and all of that stuff. And now shortages for parts again. It just seems like things pile up just to increase prices overall. And I mean, this person here says, my 64 gigabyte of RAM kit cost me $160 in February. And now that same exact kit is $479.99. But let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. I mean, what do you think about Xbox potentially getting another price increase? What do you think about the prices of RAM, and has it affected you? And what do you think about the overall scene of things, the overall landscape? I mean, first it was arguably Bitcoin and GPUs and electricity. And then it was AI and GPUs and electricity, and now it's RAM. And continuing to talk about interesting articles and also bad news for Microsoft, arguably. Next up here, we're talking about a very interesting article up on Games Radar. And listen to this title here. Steam Machine is Microsoft's worst nightmare. According to analysts, and one day Xbox games might be more beneficial to Valve than their own publisher. Xbox console sales have really struggled. There has been a whole lot of talk just in general about the upcoming Steam Machine, a lot of excitement surrounding it, a lot of, I don't want to say controversy, but there's been a lot of chatter about the expected pricing of it. Anyways here, listen to this quote. I do recommend checking out the full article for more information. Steam Machine is just another sign that there may not be room in the market for a dedicated Xbox console system. However, and the big however here is that Microsoft or Xbox isn't going down without a fight, and the fight hasn't even started yet. Or maybe it has. I mean, the Steam Machine has not released yet at all, so no one knows how successful it's going to be. But Microsoft or Xbox has said they are focused on next generation hardware, and they emphasize their partnership with AMD and all of that stuff. So I'm really curious to see what happens next here. And continuing to talk about Microsoft, but switching from hardware to software here and talking about Windows, and arguably continuing to talk about not great news. Listen to this from Windows latest. Microsoft admits File Explorer is slow in Windows 11, and it's going to preload it in the background to help improve launch performance. This shouldn't be visible to you outside of File Explorer hopefully launching faster when you need to use it. And they go on to say here, if you don't want Windows 11 to preload File Explorer, you can uncheck the option called Enable Window Preloading for faster launch times in File Explorer's folder options under View. This is additional bloat in my opinion. I am curious to hear your thoughts on the matter, and I think Mudahar sums it up pretty well. Literally, their solution is to just bloat your system, LMAO. And yeah, instead of optimizing the coding, instead of recoding it or whatever they need to do to make it better, they just instead decide to use more resources. Go figure. And continuing to talk about Windows and arguably bad news for Microsoft. Next up, we're talking about the operating system market share worldwide. Now, this information is up on statcounter.com. And again, like everything we talk about, link will be within that GitHub link below. Taking a look at the operating system market share worldwide figures for the last 10 years. And you can see this blue line here is Windows. Windows market share has decreased significantly. Now, I think it's pretty easy to see that Android is increasing in market share overall. I mean, there is a bit of a dip, but throughout the whole thing, there's bits of dips. I mean, everyone has bits of dips, Windows arguably being the biggest. But at the same time here, looking at these figures overall, and well, Linux it's not doing near as well as I want it to be. But I would argue that Android and iOS are the future here, given that they're increasing and, well, at least holding a candle when it comes to comparing them against Microsoft. Microsoft, though, continues to dominate the PC space. And to further this point, if I take a look at even more data here and just go back a little bit further, so take a look at the last 15 years worth of data from 2010 to 2025 here. You can see the rise of Android, you can see the rise of iOS, and you can see the huge fall of Windows, a far smaller market share than it used to have. I am really curious, though, to hear your thoughts on the matter and if you disagree with my assessments based on the data. I mean, I really think the ball is in Android and iOS's court. I am curious to know how much of this is consumer stuff and how much of this is corporations, because realistically, I don't see corporations switching from Windows to Android to handle all of their stuff. Maybe though, maybe. I mean, that would be a huge switch and a huge win for Android or even iOS. I don't see it happening. I don't think it's feasible, but you never know. I do think the ball is in Android and iOS's court to really take things to the next level and propel them to be much stronger than Microsoft in terms of overall OS usage. Let me know your thoughts about this, though, in the comments below. I'm really curious to hear your predictions and what you think is going to happen. And if you're surprised that Linux has such a low market share worldwide, given the fact that it's very utilized by a lot of different companies and also starting to get more popular with gamers and regular consumers. And speaking about popularity, next up here, we're talking about Street Fighter, and this is a really big tweet from the Street Fighter team. They have announced that Street Fighter has sold 6 million units. However, and the big however here is that some people are arguing that this is not a big number for the game and not a big number for Capcom overall, and I might agree with them. Taking a look at Capcom's website here for the best-selling games of all time. And this number is a little bit outdated, but even if I were to bump it up to 6 million units, it doesn't change it on this overall list. So sitting in 16th place overall for Capcom's best-selling games of all time, we've got Street Fighter 6, that released back in 2023. In 15th place, we've got Street Fighter 2 selling 6.3 million units. In 14th place, we've got Street Fighter V with 7.9 million units sold. So going up the list a little bit here and taking a look at the top 10, and in 9th place, we've got Monster Hunter Wilds, which released this year and has 10.7 million units sold. It's tied with Devil May Cry 5, which released back in 2019. And if I go to first place here, you're probably not surprised, Monster Hunter World, with 21.8 million units sold, and it was released back in 2018. And speaking about bestsellers, next up here, we're talking about Nintendo and Kirby Air Riders. Look at that. It's so stupid. Listen to this headline here. I can't keep it together. Nintendo starts removing player-made bikini shaft Kirby Air Rider designs as they top the in-game marketplace. This is so stupid. So to make things even more ridiculous, and I'm having a really, really tough time keeping it together. So stupid. That's the original. This article's up automaton. Chef Kawasaki micro bikini ride deleted from Kirby Air Riders machine market. Immediately replaced by succubus chef. I can't even read this. What the hell? Now, I don't know if this is going to be a game of cat and mouse. I'm actually tearing up. It's just so dumb. There you have it. But moving on from that nonsense and going to maybe some other nonsense. I don't know yet. Who knows? Maybe it's real. We don't know. But if I had a nickel for every single Half-Life 3 rumor I've seen, I'd be pretty rich. Anyways here, listen to this headline up on Gaming Leaks and Rumors. Mike Straw doubles, triples down on Half-Life 3, still thinks it's being revealed this year. It appears this information is being sourced from the Insider Gaming Weekly podcast, so I'll drop a link to this in the GitHub link below as well to check out. Apparently, it's not going to be revealed at this year's Game Awards, and I would think it would make sense to have this as a pack-in game with the Steam Machine. I think that would really help sell the Steam Machine. Either way here, we've heard rumor after rumor after rumor for years about Half-Life 3, but only recently has it been heating up a little bit more than normal. We'll have to wait and see on that. I think Valve is sitting on a gold mine here with Half-Life 3, or the potential of a Half-Life 3. And maybe, just maybe, we are going to see something. I mean, the Steam Machine kind of came out of nowhere. And speaking about updates, next up we're talking about the AYN Thor. And if you've got a Thor, you might be excited about this brand new update that fixes a bunch of issues. And this article is up on retrohandhelds.gg. Taking a look at the changelog here, and I think they've added in a lot of really nice quality of life features and improvements. For example, adding support to pin the on-screen keyboard on the bottom screen. Adding support to enable DisplayPort output when docked. They've added support to hide the Android softkeys bar navigation buttons from the bottom screen. Enabled maximum fan speed setting when in custom fan mode. Furthermore, and I think this one's a big one, they've added support to disable the power button when the device is closed to prevent the reported issue where it keeps turning on by itself and heating up to unsafe levels while it's charging or in the pocket. And they've added support to prevent the system from waking up on the charging cable plug event when the lid is closed. They've also added in a brand new boot animation. Overall, and without factoring in the whole hinge controversy surrounding this, the difference between, or the debate between this thing having hinge cracks and seams from the molding process, which I've seen images to debate both of those. Anyways, without factoring that in, the AYN Thor continues to be a very, very hot product in the handheld industry. Next up, we're talking about Linux on ARM and Linux gaming on ARM and ESDE, where ESDE stands for Subscribe to Mr. Sujano, or Emulation Station Desktop Edition, depending on how you wanted to interpret that. Anyways, the ESDE front end is working on Linux ARM support. If you are curious about this one, I do recommend checking out the Reddit emulation post. They do say that this is highly experimental, and it is just a pre-release right now. But overall, this is a huge thing for Linux and ARM gaming. However, Stoned Edge does point out here, hasn't this been supported for years? I've been running your software on Arch64 Linux for a while, and ESDE responds, there has never been an app image for Arch64, and we've never created separate find rules, import rules, and system configuration specific to Linux Arch64, which is now the case. There's now also documentation for this platform, which we didn't have previously, as we've never done an inventory of what emulators are available for this architecture. And last up here, we're talking about Xbox and Windows, and arguably good news this time. This has just been announced by Xbox, and they say immerse yourself. The Xbox full screen experience is coming to Windows 11. It's currently in early access as part of the Windows Insider program, but at the same time here, this may help out performance on certain devices. It appears that this function is going to be initially mapped to the Windows and F11 key. If you hit that, if you're a part of the Insider program and have this capability built in, then yes, you can switch to the Xbox game mode. I'm very curious to see how long it takes for them to roll this out, because I would argue in terms of gaming, this may be a priority. Let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and the legendary one fluff. We talked about a bunch today. Feel free to discuss anything we talked about in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button. Check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate. Save your state.